Happy Monday. Welcome. It's Conrad from Eng Machina. Here we are with number 2 of our business updates. This time, we're introducing the Pomodoro timer. We're going to keep things tight. It's going to be more edited. Your time will be respected. It's a very, very busy time of year leading up into Christmas. Let's get into it. First off, I want to talk about work. So let's look at category 1 here. Working is still continuing. Money's still coming in. Looks like we won't be having a break for Christmas. Good news is with A that we talked about previously, I have met the owner this week. He came down to Newcastle and met him. He is fantastic, great guy, got on well, just as conversational in person as we have been online. So, speaking of online, we've had some big scary storms here. Big scary storms over the last few weeks, and we actually ended up without any internet here for a good sort of 3 to 4 days. Thanks to Company A for tolerating that. As an upgrade, we now have one of these big guys sitting out on the floor. We've got a Starlink satellite. If you're rural, just get one. We were previously on fixed wireless. I do a lot of hotspotting off my phone. I think this is a good solution. So we'll move straight along from that. Talk about work B. So this week will be my last week at B. It's been a bit of a worry, to be honest, over the last few weeks. If anyone's ever hired in the regions for any sort of technical position, you'll understand. And then if you want a technical leadership position, it gets just that much harder. Very lucky, we've found our guy. He's very strong. He is coming on board this week. I'm going to be doing a nice big handover, which is good because I was worried we'd run out of time for a handover, but it looks like that's not a problem. This is a solution that I didn't see coming at all. You think you're good at solutions, but then one will come along that just completely blows you away. And I'm really happy that this individual has stepped up. That'll get announced this week. Thank you. Company C is still ticking along. We have had some problems getting quotes this time of year. It's because all these Christmas trees are in the way. It's definitely not all the end of year drinks. It's the Christmas trees blocking the signal of the emails, I'd say. But we're going to keep pushing. So we're going to try to get that trial batch made locally early next year. So more interestingly, in the last 2 weeks, we can talk about STEM and we can talk about education. There's been a few wrap-up end-of-year sort of events because education is winding up for the year. One thing that I went to, which was very interesting, was at the Rutherford Technology High School. They did a Women in STEM event, and there was lots and lots of involvement from local businesses. Great turnout. Everything there was really good. I did a post on LinkedIn about it if you want to see more. But I highly recommend, if you can get your child or a child that you know to go to one of these kind of speed mentoring events. That is at the core of our initiative we're trying to do. You're getting real STEM workers out in front of kids. So this one STEM worker in an event like that can directly affect, 30 to 40 smaller future STEM workers. And that impact will flow on. So this individual will talk to all their friends, and you'll end up with this little army of amazing little STEM workers in 10 years or so. And I really look forward to it. The good news with Rutherford High School, the teacher there, Jade, thank you very much for having me. They're talking about getting me in next year. Hopefully now I've got a working with children's check, so that's good. I can help these guys out more directly. One thing we're identifying as a gap is 3D scanning. So a lot of these schools now have printers. They have routers, CNC routers, but scanning is a bit of a gap. So hopefully that's something I can step in and help out with. I also managed to drop in at the uni they're gearing up for next year with their travelling roadshow that they do out of Newcastle Uni. Their van that has, all the good ideas in it. That's a light bulb. That van is shooting off to Queensland for almost the whole year. I didn't realise. So they have to load this thing up with, 1,000 individual kits, plus all the spare parts. All that has to get crammed into the back of this guy, and then it goes off for almost the whole year to Queensland. And then we also had our Questacon meetup for December, which was once again very informative, and the university people were actually in attendance. Not only the university roadshow people, but also the smart girls and some other people to talk about events that are put on during the Christmas break. So it's good to see that the uni keep STEM ticking over. And some of those programs that they offer, if you have children in the Hunter area that are looking to do something in a STEM career in the future, reach out to the uni. They've got specific people to place interested students into these programs. All these things you don't know about unless you go to these events and find out. And I'm always happy when I go to something like this and get a surprise like that. Just before we leave this area of the presentation, I did want to mention something that happened at this event at Rutherford. So we were talking about STEM kits, we're talking about the local Aboriginal culture, and some of the girls had these beautiful coats on that were made by students, and they were made of some type of fur. Now, a component of my kit that I want to have is involving very tactile components, as many materials as I can get students to interact with at a personal level. Just imagine, it's not a cat, okay? It's a possum. Here he is, bushy tail. Okay, and I got very excited when I heard that they had a supplier for me that I could use to get some fur in an ethical way, in a safe way, not scraping things off the highway. I was very excited about this, and the day I walked off beaming, very happy. The problem is I can't use that contact. The reason for that is that one of the core parts of the kit that I'm developing is it's locally sourced. And possums, we have them in Australia, but these possum furs were from New Zealand. They're processed in New Zealand, brought over. The company is great, nothing against them, but it's not what we're trying to do. So it's good to know that there are companies that do this sort of thing, but I'll have to find a different one. Let's start to wrap up now and talk about our social impact. Now, obviously, a lot of this is already very social, but specifically, we've got HIF, the Hunter Innovation Festival people. We're having our meeting this week for that group. Something which the uni people gave me was a list. So when they develop a kit like what they put in the van, they've got some very specific criteria to work in a way that's going to be easy to maintain on the road, robust, friendly for kids, all those sort of good things that I was hoping to do with my setup, they already have a set of criteria for. So we're going to use that to help develop this kit, and I thank them very much for that. Lastly, I want to talk about some developments with the initiative. I did one or two of those sessions in the last few weeks, mainly because I was out and about with no internet, so I was hotspotting from public places. Once again, if people aren't in an area to learn, they probably don't want to be interacting with me. So one thing I did was a session at a library, a local library. I was not interrupting people, not wanting to talk too much. I think that's still an old-fashioned value that I have about libraries. That's a hang-up of mine. Modern libraries are not like that, and I need to remember that it's okay to have these conversations. So the people who work in that library put me onto another person, contact. What we're going to look at doing is when they have sit-down sessions in the library, like say they might do a public book reading or something, then following in from that, I want to make myself available. So I'll be sitting there ready to sort of grab these eager minds and show them some hands-on things. So they've come from some sort of a thinking session, and then I'll make myself available afterwards for some sort of a hand-on demo, whether that's with like something to teach about maybe limits and fits, or some like some general sort of design principles we can go over with the kids, or even just try to help them line up some work experience. We're going to start talking to libraries a bit more. I think that's the way to approach it. And the good thing about those sort of environments is that it's a good spot where if I have my kit and I'm not sure if it's going to be robust enough or not, if I can get some of these kids to interact with the kit at a prototype stage, then they will let me know if there's any problems with them. So that's really good to have that, I guess, captive audience to help me with product testing, which, as we know, is very important. It's no good me sitting here trying to design something in isolation. I need to make sure the end users are interacting with it as early as possible to make sure we're going the right path. In between now and the next session, we're going to have a visit from someone who wears a hat like this and says ho ho ho. So obviously I won't be getting a visit, but a lot of people I know will be. So I hope you enjoy that morning and the sparkle of your kids' eyes. Hopefully something that we can sparkle our children up with in our household is 2 times kits for robotics from a local company which is called Aspire. So they have their own kits with custom boards for ant weight robots. So they're 150 gram robots, and they can have either no moving parts or some moving parts for weapons. I've ordered a kit which is a bit more passive, probably for the young bloke, let's be honest, and another kit which has a spinning blade. I hope everyone has a good break. Next time we'll be back with a New Year's Eve kind of a celebration deal, because we're all parents. We don't actually go out anymore. I'll be home by 10. So we'll have one of them at the end of the year, pop some champers, and I hope to see you all soon. Oh, there she blows.